We're talented, we're talented, we're very, 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 very talented. We're talented, yes, talented. We're so talented, we're smart.
Welcome to the first episode of the sub-brand of the Chickensteins. Bride of Chickenstein. I guess that's what we're going with, right?
Yeah, sounds great.
And in case you don't know, that's Cynical44.
Hello. Howdy, howdy.
He's going to be my co-host on this. Like typical, I didn't plan anything. Just going to wing it.
Yeah. It always turns out well. So, no complaints. Just do it.
Yeah. He actually cut me off earlier because I was complaining about the cabin in the woods. Not the movie itself, because I haven't seen it. But he told me to save my rant.
leave your comment below. You can just start the rant comment immediately after you said you hadn't seen it yet.
It just showed up, man. Come on. My complaints were the case itself is just blah. I know you have the Blu-ray, right?
Yes. I'm sure I probably have the same one you do with the lenticular slipcover.
Yeah, like I like that, but at the same time I don't. I'll explain that in a minute. But first of all, I like disc art. I don't know. A lot of people don't give a shit, but it's just freaking. It's just
That's a lost art. Yeah.
It's just gray with a Blu-ray stripe on it. It's just.
It was at Lionsgate that put that out.
Yeah.
I think. Yeah, they're kind of like Universal. They're not very original and stuff like that.
And then there's this ultra-violent shit written all over it, which I don't care about.
Yeah, that's a waste.
So then they went ahead and got that lenticular cover, like you said, and they slap an ultra-violent sticker on that.
Yeah. Good luck getting that thing off of that residue lid, there forever.
Now, someone's already told me what the movie's about, so I kind of know the ending. I don't want to spoil anything.
Oh, that's unfortunate.
No, I told them to. I don't care. But
I know how you are with spoilers. I have to watch which movies you've seen that I still want to watch. You'll just tell them to me, and I'll be like, "Oh no!"
If you have this and you see the cover, you spin it, and then it's like a house. It looks like a Rubik's Cube, which is confusing enough. But when you spin it, it shows all these monsters.
Right.
Now, obviously, I don't want to spoil the movie, but that's kind of a spoiler, I think.
Yeah.
A little bit.
Yeah, it's definitely a big part of the third act of that movie. Like the first couple of acts kind of set up the end, and that is way into the movie. When you start dealing with that, what you see on that cover.
Because they didn't really show much in the trailers, and then it's like, here it is. So I guess they're assuming whoever buying this went to the theaters and saw it, but.
They probably have their fingers crossed that they've already watched it 5 times anyway, but yeah.
And then, I guess I don't want to get too much into it, but I don't know. It might disappoint people, the cover.
Yeah. Well, I would just say that I was kind of worried about this movie from the very beginning because, unfortunately, I didn't get to see it in theaters. I had planned to. I intentionally was going to go just for this movie because I'm not a big movie theater goer. But when I went to go search it out, and this movie hadn't been out very long, it already got bumped into the weird thing where it had to share a theater with another more popular movie. So it'd be like one of those things where it's only on at 2 o'clock in the afternoon and 8 o'clock at night. You know what I mean? Like that kind of thing, because it's with some other movie that's on 4 screens and 15 times a day. And so I decided I was going to wait for the home video release, the Blu-ray. And the trailers, to me, I thought spilled a lot of it. Now, having seen the movie and seen the trailers, I don't think it gave away as much as I perceived it because the movie itself is actually more complicated than I initially thought it would be, which I love that about the movie. There is different levels that it works on. But the first time I saw the trailer, not the teaser, but the full trailer, I actually avoided all trailers after that, all reviews, all people talking about not going to see it at the theater because I thought, I'd already knew too much. But it actually is one of those movies that there's a lot more there than I thought there was going to be, so I'll say that. And there's a lot to enjoy. And it's a movie that you can watch multiple times and you'll catch something new. So I like that too. So I don't think it'll really run it for you seeing that cover. But if you saw the teaser and you had no idea what you were getting into, and then that was the first time you saw it, or didn't see a teaser or trailer at all, it'd probably be a better surprise not knowing any of that. I think that would make it a better movie.
Oddly enough, the first Chickenstein had Planet Bearwagon on it.
Yeah. Do you know I actually avoided that section of it because I thought he was going to spill too much about the movie?
He actually did. He told me like the whole movie. He told both of us, and then I cut that all out of it, so it wouldn't spoil for anyone. So if you've actually listened to it, it just kind of cuts to him saying it was a good movie.
I'll have to go back and rewatch that. I got nervous and paused.
Oh, he literally told us start to beginning what the ending was and everything, but I didn't want to put that out there.
I was assuming he was pretty excited. He's a big Joss Whedon fan too, so I think that was one of those movies that he was really impressed by. So I can see that.
Continuing with complaining about Blu-ray releases
mm-hmm.
that I haven't watched, but I just looking at it. Well, I've seen these when I was a kid. I bought the Indiana Jones: The Complete Adventures, and I'm excited to watch it because I've seen the original 3. But not since a kid. So I remember bits and pieces. So it'll almost be new to me. But so it comes in this box, right? It's a pretty sweet looking little box. And it's got great art on the front, Indiana Jones, The Complete Adventures. And you slide it out, and it almost looks like a book. But then you look at it, and it's the little booklet that holds the disc. It's the same art that's in the box you hold it in. Maybe I'm just weird, but it's like they could have done something different.
Right.
But it's exact same. The back is the exact same. It's a picture of a map. It's just like, meh.
Yeah. And now the interior of it, how is the discs themselves housed? Is it like the Star Wars set? Is it just like on cardboard practically or something?
They're slid in between.
Sleeve?
Yeah, they're slid in between pieces of cardboard.
I'm kind of like, I know Blu-rays are tougher than DVDs, but I'm kind of over the whole thing of just like slapping the face of the disc against something.
Inside has great art, but when you pop the disc out, oh, look at that, it's gray. No picture.
Yeah, that doesn't sound too exciting. And that's not the cheapest Blu-rays out there. They could have spent a little bit extra time designing that case.
And I didn't mind the fourth one, I'm saying it. I enjoyed it. It's not amazing.
Yeah, I thought it was fun.
But I'm just sick of gray discs, man.
Yeah, there's a lot of them out there. A lot of just like blue and gray discs.
But I am quite happy with... I just actually opened it. I bought Halloween 2 and 3.
Nice.
And I love the drawn covers, the alternate covers, but if you like the original covers, they're on the flip side because Shout Factory does that. It actually has disc art.
I like both designs.
But I do have a complaint already. So, they went through the energy.
That didn't last very long. I really like these.
But, they went through the energy to have these awesome slipcovers, although it's the same picture as your thing inside, so it's not really messing too much up. But they slapped stickers on these slipcovers. 30th anniversary Shamrock edition, but it's like just slapped on the art. I don't know. It just seems stupid.
I tell you what's really bad is if you can get lucky enough to get a slipcover that doesn't have a factory release sticker on it about UV or $5 coupon or something like that, digital copy related, then it's places like Best Buy and Walmart will put stickers all over them. And I'm just like, those are the ones that are tough to get off too. I get really sick of that.
Yeah, I almost wish they would wrap the slipcover and all together and slap stickers all over that plastic. I don't care. Yeah. I agree totally. And there is a few random DVDs that I've run into over the years that have done that, but I haven't seen it on a Blu-ray that I know of. And I can't even remember the last time I saw a DVD that was like that. I saw one in Big Lots, which is probably the only reason the slipcover still existed on that DVD is because it was under the shrink wrap. But I wish they would do that on everything. It'd be nice. Yeah, I guess I'm just picky.
Yeah, well, I don't blame you, man. I'm picky about some of that stuff too.
It's like digital copies, for me anyways, are useless. I know some people use them, but when they put the disc in there and there's a fucking, you only have a month to use it, it's like, fuck you.
The one that really bothers me is when they give you the digital copy and there's not even a DVD. I can understand you give somebody a digital copy and it's got a digital copy and DVD. That's just an extra spare disc, crappy version that's in standard def. But it's useful for somebody that maybe wants to watch it like in a laptop or, like a on-the-go kind of copy. But when you get a whole separate disc besides the DVD that's a digital copy, and that digital copy may be expired when you buy the movie, it's just a waste. They should never even produce a digital copy by itself. To me, that's just like an excuse to charge you an extra $5 for something because there's another disc in there.
You have any complaints? Come on, you need to rant more.
I tell you, this is a complaint that I just ran into yesterday. You were talking about you watched Halloween 2 and 3. I had picked up Halloween 2 and 3, and I picked up Halloween 4 and 5 before Halloween 2 and 3. And my whole thinking in this was, it's leading up to Halloween. I'm going to hold on to Halloween 4 and 5, and I'm going to watch Halloween 2, Halloween 3, just kind of go through the series. And so I just finally got to Halloween 4 and 5. And Halloween 4 has the ending of the movie in the menu. Talk about spoilers. Like if you've never seen Halloween 4, you could put that movie in, and basically within 20 seconds it gives you the ending of the movie right there in the motion menu. To me, that's asinine right there. And then I watched that documentary that I was kind of talking to you about earlier, the Halloween 25 years or whatever it is. It's the anniversary edition that they did like in 2006 that was just put up by Anchor Bay, which is kind of a documentary on the Halloween franchise. And it focuses a lot on Halloween 1, 4, and 5 because that's the ones that Anchor Bay has a lot of rights to. Well, the special features in that are the duplication of most of the special features that you'll get on Halloween 4 and 5 that just came out. Like there's a panel discussion from, I think, like a convention back in 2003 that's on that documentary, and that is almost the only special features I think that's on Halloween 4. And then I think Halloween 5 has a really small behind the scenes kind of thing. So I don't know. I wasn't too impressed with Halloween 4 and 5 considering that the price was kind of high on those. It probably could have just done just as well keeping my DVDs. But oh well, what are you going to do?
Kind of off topic, but on topic. With the menu thing you were talking about. You know how I like wrestling. I don't talk about it much on my channel, but I'm a wrestling fan.
Yeah.
A lot of times you'll buy a wrestling event and they'll have a music video that plays in the beginning that shows you the highlights of what you're about to watch.
There's a guy like with the ref's holding his hand up. Like he's already there.
They'll just show you all the sweet moves during the matches. You're like, well, I don't have to watch this now.
Yeah, you're like, there's the highlight reel, I'm done. You just push eject after that.
Oh, God, that's ridiculous.
Yeah, I'm kind of, I'm not a fan of spoilers because I always assume that, there's always somebody that's going to be watching that for the very first time, And I never worried about it before the motion menus that they have, with DVDs and Blu-rays and stuff like that. I just never thought of it, because back during the days of VHS and stuff like that, there was just no such thing as, them showing you the end of the movie at the beginning. But it seems like there's some really bad ones like that. But that's the latest one that I've seen is that Halloween 4. This is like kind of on topic and kind of off topic. I don't know if you kind of realize this or not. But if you watch very many Universal movies, like on Blu-ray, and notice that they all have the exact same setup, like their menu is exactly the same on every Blu-ray that they do. It's bad because it's the same menu that they had on HD DVDs, if you know how dead that format's been forever. And it's got its own built-in. The best way I can describe it is it's like a screensaver. Like, if you don't touch your computer for 5 minutes or whatever, and the screensaver comes on. This has got that same kind of thing. If you pause the movie for so long, there's a screensaver that pops up, and that's been identical on all Universal movies since the beginning of high definition. And it's really, I don't know, to me, that just is kind of typical of what I think of when I see one of those. Is just as soon as it pops up, you notice it. They're all the same generic layout.
Guess I haven't noticed it.
Now you will. I guarantee you, now you'll be watching. Next time you pick up a Universal movie, you'll be thinking about that.
So, to get off topic from movies here for a second.
Okay.
Did you see that Sony has released a picture of the new PlayStation 3?
I didn't. I heard you say that the other day, and I've read a few little snippets and things, but I didn't actually see the picture.
It's ugly.
Like if you had to estimate its size, what are we talking about? Like
I don't know about size-wise, but...
like if you were going to compare it, like half the size of the slim one that they did?
It's hard to tell because they're all like artistic pictures and they were like half blurry and whatever. All I really recognize...
There's a smoke machine in the foreground.
Pretty much. Is the top has like indents, almost like a grill.
What?
And then instead of... Yeah, it's almost like when you open a George Foreman grill, like those type of indents.
Wow.
And then instead of the disc sliding in, the thing pops open like old school, and then you set the disc in a tray.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh. I wonder how long it's going to be before Grandma tries to like put a grilled cheese sandwich in that thing.
I was gonna send you the pictures because you were talking about getting a new PlayStation. I was gonna be like, "Here you go."
Don't forget to get the Foreman.
Yeah, you need to get
version 3.
You need to get the new
Super
version.
Edition.
Probably costs twice as much as the other ones.
Well, mine's so big and junky and everything that I might just try to get a decent second model. Maybe that third model will push down the price of the second model.
And in case people don't know, Sunico and I are Battlefield buddies, and we play on the PlayStation 3.
Yeah, my PlayStation 3 is about the size of a Buick, and the interior of it, the actual memory size, is smaller than like an iPod. So it's cutting edge technology for about 6 years ago. But yes, we play a lot of Battlefield 3 until one of our internets go out or my system overheats.
We're taking the applications for a third player.
Yeah, all you have to have is a PlayStation 3 in that game. Yeah, qualified.
Let's switch gears again.
Okay. So, are you a fan of like CGI cartoons, like CG stuff like that, or just depends on the story?
I don't mind CGI. I mean, I love Jimmy Neutron, which was all CGI and things like that, but they started that way.
Right. Yeah. Well, I mean, does it make you feel like, a long time ago when companies would do like a CG version of a cartoon, it seemed cutting edge, and now it kind of seems like it's the way to save money. You know what I mean? It seems like more of like a shortcut instead of something exciting and something different, cutting edge. But I've kind of not enjoyed most of the CG versions of things I've seen recently. Like the Green Lantern cartoon, I kind of wanted to watch that, and then I did watch it, and I just couldn't get into it. I couldn't get through one episode. And I don't even know if the story was good or not. I just couldn't get past the CG part of it. I think if the story was good enough, I learned to not even realize that it was CG.
What about the new Garfield? That's CG.
Horrible. Seriously, I've seen that show. I can't even. But I mean, that's kind of depends on. I think kids nowadays can't necessarily relate to the cartoons that we watched when we were kids. So it's kind of a give and take. It's almost like a generation gap for things like Garfield. Because when I was a kid, I liked Garfield. When I go back and watch Garfield now, it's not even the way I remember it. But at the same time, I know I like it better than the CG version of Garfield, which, probably most kids would feel the exact opposite. They'd rather see a new and improved something where Garfield can get on the internet or whatever, he walks around with a cell phone. But, for me, I'll never get past, the 80s Garfield.
What about, I guess it's not easy to judge because it's like a little kid show, but there's a CGI Mickey Mouse show.
Oh, I didn't even know that.
Yeah, it's hard to compare it because it's kind of like Dora the Explorer where they're like, I need to find my sunglasses. Do you see them? It's like really repetitive stuff like that.
Yeah. Yeah, I was going to say, their age demographic is definitely skewed way below me.
My nephew likes it and dances. There's like a hot dog song and he dances and sings to it. But I was watching it with him one day and there's some things that bothered me. Donald Duck is nice. He doesn't get mad.
Yeah.
And Pete is friends with everybody.
I don't even know who's Pete. I can't even know who that
Did
is.
you ever watch the Goofy show?
I remember you're talking about a Goof Troop?
Yeah.
That, I remember it being out, but I don't think I actually watched it. It was probably something that came out right when I was just kind of old enough that I didn't appreciate shows like that anymore. Like it was, I was still watching cartoons way past my cartoon age, but I think that one was one of those ones that I was probably close to high school when it was getting popular, so I don't think I watched it.
I remember Pete mostly in that because he was the neighbor, but there's an older, maybe it's not old, there's a Christmas one where Mickey wants to buy a tree, and Pete actually runs the tree farm, and he's a dick. So he's been throughout the ones as bad guys, basically, but he's buddies with everyone in the show. And it's almost too simplistic. Like, I know they're for kids and learning. You know, it's like, I need to find my glasses. They're underwater. And the only thing underwater is, like, the glasses.
Yeah. Well, I mean, don't you feel like all they're doing is selling the names, like Mickey Mouse and Donald Duck and, Disney in general, because they could slap that storytelling on any character. Like, there's no distinguishing feature about those characters left. Like, instead of Mickey Mouse, it could just as easily be, anybody. It could have been like a Warner Brothers cartoon, or, it could just be a jar of mustard. And it'd still be able to, achieve the same goals for that storytelling. But, yeah, I know what you mean. Like, it's kind of weird to see what you think of as stereotypical, good guys and bad guys, just all kind of generically living in the same world, all smiling, happy.
Disney in general has been weird. Like,
Yeah.
they have two really good shows. They might be more, but there's a new one called Gravity Falls, and it's freaking awesome. It's like random, and
I think you were telling me about that one.
it's like
I haven't seen it yet. I need to.
There's gnomes vomiting fucking rainbows.
See, that just seems like something Disney wouldn't put on, which in its own way makes me want to watch it. You know what I mean? That's like, as soon as you hear that, you're like, Disney did that? I got to see that.
Yeah, like even the intro shows like, I don't forget if it shows a Bigfoot, but it shows a giant like footprint. I assume it's a Bigfoot. I haven't caught a lot of them, but then there's one where, like, even in the intro, it shows Bat Boy, if you remember that from those old newspapers.
I don't even know if I remember that. Man, you're like name dropping on me. No, I don't even know. I'll have to check that out.
It was like a fake news.
Oh, you're talking about like the National Enquirer Bat Boy, like the little kid that looks at you
Yeah.
all with a pointed ear.
That's like a picture of him's in the intro. Where I guess this crazy stuff happens in Gravity Falls.
Well, yeah. What it seems like to me is, do you remember that show? There was a show that you have to remember it because it would probably be almost perfectly for about your age. Because I remember when it came out, I didn't hear about it until like it was almost gone. Was there a show called like Erie, Indiana that was kind of like that? It's kind of like a young kids show, but it's not like that young. It's not a cartoon. It's a live action show for probably like Goosebump age kids, young teenagers. Well, you know what I mean, like 10 to 15, something like that. I think there was a show called Erie, Indiana that was kind of like that, where it was just a whole town where weird things happen. There was flying saucers and ghosts and all kinds of weird stuff, but it kind of seemed like that. But I'll have to check. I'll have to send you a trailer on Erie, Indiana. See if you remember that. Maybe you saw it and you've already forgotten.
And I'm late to the party, but I've been really enjoying Phineas and Ferb.
Yeah, see, like I still haven't watched that. I need to though, because I hear about it all the time. So, for however late you are, I'm like 2 steps behind.
But then there's like just reruns of their really bad like teen live action shows. Like Pair of Kings. Oh my god, that is horrible.
See, I think like that's part of the reason I don't catch very many shows is because on channels like that, I would just have to DVR it because I'm not going to just, go to that channel and happen to catch it. I'll probably avoid it.
Nick's been doing the same thing though, just pumping out those teen shows.
Yeah. They should just give teenagers their own like little sub-show network thing.
They have Teen Nick.
Just keep them separated. But I mean, did they run out of room on Team Nick? So now they have to like it's like the pod people. They're just injecting stuff in there and simulating the other channels.
Teen Nick is like reruns of the past teen shows that they don't have on anymore.
So it's like, well, they should just give them another one. It's like Teen Nick and then Teen Nick Retro. Just keep going. It seemed like when I was a kid, Nickelodeon was very different than it is now, but it was a lot of really weird programming. And then at the same time, you would get at night. What was the show that it's got its own network now, where it showed reruns of old television shows at night? I think it was Nick at Night. Yeah. And when I was a kid, I used to think it was a big deal because it's like whenever Nick at Night started or whatever, it's like you were so bummed out. All the kid shows were done. And then all of a sudden the adults liked all the Nick at Night stuff. You know, because it was like reruns of like Mr. Ed, you know, and Father Knows Best or whatever, the Dick and Dyke Show.
Now it's like horrible stuff. It's like George Lopez show. And
Yeah, their retro stuff now is the stuff we just saw like 10, 15 years ago. Honestly, I think I just pick and choose a few shows, and I'll just have to check out some of those. I have to search it out.
Everyone should be watching Gumball.
You know, I've caught some Gumball, and I always catch it at the end of something else I've recorded. But I need to watch more of it. I think it's pretty funny.
The show is awesome. And the art style is just weird. It's like hand drawing, but then there's like a 3D dinosaur, and the background's like a picture, like a real picture.
It's really odd choices sometimes how they mix and match the characters. I like that one little banana guy. He's like claymation. It's like odd. But yeah, it's a lot of fun. So like, would you say probably hands down the show that you'd recommend to most people from like that group of shows would be Adventure Time?
Yes. Everyone should be watching that.
I agree with you. I think Adventure Time is a lot of fun. I like all the weird references. That show is very edgy because, you know, like I always think about shows that when I was a kid did certain edgy things, and I think to myself, they would never get away with that now. And Adventure Time feels like the exact opposite. Like I am surprised what they get away with that I think that they wouldn't have shown when I was a kid, especially a lot of like weird stuff that reminds me of the days of when people were freaking out and they were anti-Dungeons and Dragons and stuff. A lot of like weird references to cult type stuff. I think it's awesome. I think it's a lot of fun. And I think they know their target audience, which is definitely not some, you know, like 15-year-old kid or 12-year-old kid. It's probably like somebody our age, you know. It's like some 20 to 30-year-old guy or girl. But I also like Regular Show. You and I talk about Regular Show every once in a while. And it took me a while to get to that show. But once I did, that has been my new favorite show besides Adventure Time. I really dig it. And that's got a really retro kind of feel too. It references a lot of stuff from our childhood, you know, cassette tapes, Atari games, you know, stuff like that.
They rent VHSs.
Yeah, VHS tapes. And you know, it's like I wonder if kids sometimes watch that and it's just all clumped together. It's like something it just goes right over their head, you know.
Yeah, like I love that show already, but when the episode came on and New Kids on the Block Hanging Tough was playing, I was like, yeah.
They get some pretty good songs for Regular Show. I'm kind of surprised at some of the license agreements that they work out to copyright music. And I think it's probably hard on them to get that released to DVD because of all the stuff that they've put on their show. But it's awesome.
I was listening to some stuff with the guy from Pendleton Ward, the guy that made Adventure Time. Mm-hmm. He was talking about, people were asking him about censors, and like, because there's some people are like, you were surprised what he gets through. And he was saying he has a lot of trouble with farts. They can't be wet.
Really?
They can't sound wet. I was like, I want to be in that meeting. Like, this fart's too wet.
It has to be distinct. Like they're giving, like I just imagine them like submitting an episode. Kind of like when you're getting it rated, you know, for censoring, and they submit it back. They're like, "I'm sorry, this will not pass because this is clearly not a fart. This could possibly be a shart." And I think we question that completely.
But he was talking also about, there was one where, for some reason, I don't know why they thought they'd get away with it. It was the Ice King. I don't know if you've seen it. It's the Ice King. He hires a hitman to hit him. I don't know if you've seen that one.
Is it not? Is it the one that's the cat?
It's the fire guy.
Oh no! I haven't seen that one.
Well, he thinks hitman means he hires someone. They're gonna go over and hit him, like punch him or something, not kill him. But he's trying to distract the guy because he realizes what he did, and to warn them. And originally he was supposed to say, "Look over there, someone got kicked in the nuts." Of course, they're like, "No, you can't say that." So they're like, "Kicked in the balls." No, you can't say that. So they just made up a word, boing loins. So he's like, "Someone got kicked in the boing loins. The boing loins." And he kept repeating it. And he's like, in the end, that's funnier.
Yeah. Kind of reminds me of, I was listening to a comedian, and it was Patton Oswalt, and he was talking about like things you can't say because of censors. And he's like, you can make up little funny words and actually make it sound way creepier. And they're like, that's fine, And it kind of feels like that. It's like you could make that sound however you wanted, and people know exactly what you're saying. And at the same time, it's totally censor-proof. That's awesome.
That happened in Family Guy, too, where Peter was dressed up like a prostitute, and he offered a Cleveland steamer.
Oh, gosh.
And that made it through. In the commentary, they were saying how the original stuff was not even as bad as that. All the stuff they rejected was not even closely as bad as what a Cleveland steamer is. Which, in case you don't know, that's shitting on somebody's chest.
Yeah, I was going to say, don't tell people to Google that.
I'll just tell you.
Yes, that's definitely one of those things where when you say a picture's worth 1,000 words, well, a picture there is worth 1,000 hours of therapy. Because you don't want to like have that visually implanted. You can't unsee something like that. But yeah, that's kind of funny. But was it worded in a way where they were using the character Cleveland? Is that how they got away with it, or they just the censors were completely ignorant?
Peter was dressed up as a girl on a prostitute, and
it's just them. It has nothing to do.
Yeah, and he asked Lois if she wanted to Cleveland steamer him or whatever, however it was worded. So,
see, I thought maybe you were saying that the way they got away with it was the character Cleveland was involved in some way, which I thought, it's a very, it's a smart way of getting away with it. But they just said it. They didn't cheat the system at all. They just waited for those people to not know.
I just assumed they just thought it was made up.
Yeah, probably so. There's kind of a lot of that. Sometimes where something, might be lingo that, people don't pick up on, and they just assume it, they don't want to seem uncool, so they don't question it. They don't want to seem so ignorant to just say, what is this? Which is kind of a funny conversation, too. I'd like to see something like Seth MacFarlane get that question, what is this? And then him have to explain it back. That would be even funnier.
But it's like every saying pretty much nowadays has some fake sexual term,
Yeah.
Roman helmet, snowmobile. Should I explain what they are?
No. Just give a general blank. These script kind of things. Do not Google any of these. Either you know or you don't. Just leave it at that.
I kind of want to tell you what snowmobile is because I laughed when I read it.
I might not be able to unknow that, so I don't know if I want to know because then I will be permanently tattooed inside
All right.
part of my brain.
I'll do a clean version.
The brain works better than that. Any clean version you come up with, anybody does the dirty part instantly. That's like the instant translation in your brain from like little kid language to adult language. It just comes across.
The beginning of it can be violent, but the end is you're riding a girl.
The beginning of it can be violent.
It ends with you riding a girl down the stairs like a snowmobile.
Oh, God.
Or a guy, I guess. It doesn't matter.
We'll just leave it.
I couldn't stop laughing. I was like, this cannot be real. Because first of all, you're going to kill somebody. It's funny as hell. Anyways.
Oh, this podcast has derailed. But, okay, let's just to kind of switch subjects here for a second, because we definitely want to get this in there because we've been talking about this. This is actually kind of the thing that spurred this to happen was that we were going to talk about you and certain movies you've got to see, like a got to see kind of thing. We'll let that evolve, but let's sit down and just for this moment try to name some movies that you definitely have to see, and then we'll come back next time and we'll talk about them. How about that?
You can throw me under the bus like that?
No, I'm just going to say, I mean, it's just like these aren't movies that have come out in the last 5 years that everybody has seen. These are kind of like one of those movies that, somebody says, I've never seen Casablanca. I mean, there's a lot of people that haven't seen it, and everybody's heard of it, you know what I mean? But there's a few movies that you were probably just old enough that you just missed it. Like if you'd have been 5 years older, you probably couldn't have got through your childhood without somebody forcing you to watch it. Kind of like the guy on, just gets his eyes held open and sits in front of like a Clockwork Orange. You may have had something forced upon you, but just name some movies that you've kind of always wanted to see, and I'll try to see if I can watch those during the same time so that I'll have them refreshed in my memory, because probably some of these I haven't seen in a while either. And we'll try to see if we can come up with something to discuss next time.
I already know the ones you're hinting at.
What? This isn't a loaded question.
Aliens?
Yeah. Have you seen the first one?
No.
Yep.
I mean, Alien. That's what I meant. Alien.
Yeah. Well, I'd say watch both. That's a good 1-2 thing right there. I love those movies. I think they work really well together. They're different, but they're both good.
Shining.
Yeah, The Shining. That one's a good one, probably, depending on when the next time we talk. That's a good one kind of leading up to Halloween. I like it. It's sort of creepy.
Blade Runner.
Yeah, that's a classic. But a lot of people haven't seen Blade Runner until it started getting a lot of attention when it came back out on Blu-ray, That's kind of one of those movies that went around a lot when I was younger. You didn't see it a whole lot on DVD, VHS, and stuff. It was kind of harder for that type of catalog title.
Here's a whole bunch that'll surprise you. I've never seen, at least all the way through, a single Universal Monsters.
That doesn't surprise me very much. There's a lot of people that haven't seen those. I was actually thinking earlier, because I want to get that Blu-ray box set that's coming out, and at the same time it's like $100. But I know it's like 8 movies or something.
Some people have it already. I assume they got it for free.
Yeah, I was about to say, I don't think that's out yet, but it is if you're going to preview it or whatever. Or like how some people say, if you order from the right company and they don't care what marks them clearly on the side of the box, do not ship until. Yeah, I would say if you had any interest in watching the Universal movies, if I had to pick the ones I think are the most fun to watch, it's definitely Frankenstein and Bride of Frankenstein are my favorites, of course. But I like Dracula and the Wolfman okay, and I don't like the Mummy at all. To me, the Mummy is just the only redeeming factor is Boris Karloff. But I don't know. To me, there's just nothing very scary or interesting. It just kind of drags.
I kind of want that set. I keep eyeballing the Hitchcock set.
Hitchcock one? Yeah.
Which is ridiculously expensive.
Yeah. How many movies are in that? Like 20?
Yeah. I'd hope they'd release them singly, because I really just want Rear Window, Vertigo, like those ones. Yeah,
those. As far as Hitchcock goes, I like Psycho. I like The Birds. I like Rear Window and Vertigo. Yeah, those are classics. There's like a whole, like Hitchcock's one of those guys that he went through phases, so he's got like this whole big catalog of movies that he did really early in his career before he got super famous. I mean, he was making, decent movies, but they feel like, they're like 20 years, before his big hits. They feel really different. But yeah, that's like that time frame that you're talking about to me is like the best of Hitchcock when he was really, in tip-top shape.
I was kind of surprised to see in the set The Trouble with Harry.
Oh, yeah.
Which is filmed in Vermont.
Nice.
The town over from where I live.
Have you been any locations or anything to see what's still there?
Yeah, the location is literally by this church, and I've been in it for weddings. I was last in it, a year or two ago when my grandfather died for his funeral. It looks completely different, and the house that's like was the store in it is not even there anymore. I filmed some stuff because I don't know if anyone remembers I was gonna do filmed in Vermont and I was gonna go to locations. Yeah. I actually filmed some stuff and I was editing it and putting footage from the stuff in it, but I think that was on my old computer and I lost it all. So
no, you need to go back, man, because like who knows, like something can happen and they just be like, we gotta sell this building and completely change that stuff again.
It's kind of funny is he came in fall because the fall foliage is awesome in Vermont. He gets here, it rained and snowed and all the leaves fell off the trees. So he packed a bunch of leaves up and they filmed a bunch of it on a studio back in Hollywood and they painted the leaves and hung them up to make it look like it's outside.
I can't imagine how many hours of like labor went into like making that look.
Oh, you could tell it's a set. It's pretty funny. But then they like built the interior of buildings in like a local school, which they don't ever say the school, but I guess it doesn't really matter. And then like it's funny is it's next to it's in Craftsbury where it was filmed next. It's Craftsbury Common, and it's right by this church. Church is still there, and some of the buildings. The fence is probably all different. It's funny is then it was like a cow pasture, but now it's actually like it used to be a sports field till they built a new one. Now it's kind of like they hold graduations or whatever. It's right by the school. But the opening shot shows, this look over this hill and there's a church and everything. It's not the same church. That church is in Stowe.
Oh, so like they just used completely different locations and mixed it.
Yeah, I guess they came months earlier to scout locations, and then I guess he found this view and filmed it, and it's the beginning of the movie. And of course, Hitchcock, in case you don't know, he always shows up in his movies. So when they're, it's a shot towards the Common, which is what it's called now. There's cows there, and they're like, people are looking at paintings, and you see Hitchcock walk by for like a second.
That's what you need to do is you need to go like scout that location, try to walk right there, get in the area, and be like, this is where Hitchcock was.
Yeah, I bought 2 movies. Because there's another one shot in Hyde Park, which isn't that far away. Sweetheart Dance. And it's filmed all around Hyde Park in a couple different locations. And I bought those. I was going to do film in Vermont and review them and stuff. Because they're close by where I live. But, of course, obviously, also Beetlejuice was filmed in Vermont. But that house burnt years ago. That house is gone.
The sandworms got it.
I guess the library's still there, and the place that was a hardware store was a store. It's nothing now. Last time
is that covered bridge there, or was that kind of like a fake thing?
That was built for the movie.
I kind of had that feeling because he let go through the wall or whatever.
It's funny though. There's actually a video on YouTube. Someone going there a couple years ago. The river's really shallow. They had to actually dam it to make it look that high.
Wow, that's crazy. That's a cool place. If you got a chance to go there, that'd be neat. Like to try to, drive through those areas and stuff and kind of show those buildings, at least where, if you guys think mall trains, something there.
If I had balls, I would like to actually ask the guy that owns it. I think it's a farm, and actually walk up to where the house was, and you'd get the shot down, like when he was looking out the window, you see the top of the library and stuff.
Yeah. You're kind of surprised sometimes. A lot of people are either really cool about that kind of stuff or they're very anti, you know what I mean? Like, you feel like you're the first fan that's really requested something like that, and they're like, oh, yeah, that's fine. Or you're like the umpteenth person that day, and they just want to, like, shoot at you or something as soon as they see you, like, approach their lawn. But I've been watching some of those documentaries I was telling you about. Have you ever watched the series, like, Horror's Hallowed Ground? Where the guy goes to places like that in horror movies. No, you ever seen that?
But it sounds awesome.
It is awesome. There's one on, the new Halloween 2 and 3 that you got.
Yeah.
The special features for Halloween 3 has that episode where he went to all the locations of what's left, of Halloween 3 stuff. Probably, a couple of years ago or something. It may have been a while back. But it's pretty cool for him to like stay in those locations and try to match up the shots. It's very cool, and I would love to do that. Like go to places because some of those places you wouldn't even know you were there. You just kind of are going along, and also they're like, this is where this was. And it's kind of like you said, where something was there, but it was a different church in another town. There's a lot of stuff like that where you're in this town and supposedly this person went back around this corner and there's this building, and really that might be in another town, But it was kind of cool, to see what was left of some of that stuff.
Yeah, I saw that on there. That would be awesome. I can't wait to watch that. Was it a TV series or something?
I think I want to say that he did it for like the Horror Network or something like that. I'm sure somebody will know here. You know what I mean? Like you may get a comment or something where somebody says that they've seen it. He's got a website. He's got a Facebook page. And the website, I think, was under construction when I went to look at it because I remember it vaguely from, a few years ago. Somebody had found a link to, like, probably not his, but somebody had uploaded a version of it to YouTube. And I was watching one, and I want to say that it's actually got like a real budget, like it's almost like a real show, not just somebody trying to do this. But I think it's listed on like IMDb. You can probably look it up on Wikipedia for sure. But there's also a version of that that's on that Halloween documentary that I was talking about, the one that Anchor Bay did. That was the 2-disc standalone documentary that was just all documentary. There's a version of that for the original Halloween as well. So that's pretty cool. But I think he does it for tons of stuff. I wish that, that they would just release a DVD. That'd be awesome. I'd probably buy it and just watch all those episodes.
Yeah, I love stuff like that.
There's actually really good special features on both Halloween 2 and 3. Probably that's the best part of those. Definitely check them out. Were you kind of surprised that, like when you went to those locations in Vermont and stuff, and everywhere you went, did they have like an actual, like some kind of marker or something set up, or it was just like everybody was business as usual?
No, I didn't. I was just one day. I knew Beetlejuice was filmed in Vermont, but one day I just went on IMDb and looked up film locations in Vermont, and I was surprised some of the stuff that popped up, like things I never heard of or things I hadn't seen.
But when you go to that town, like they don't have a big sign that says, the home of Beetlejuice. Nothing like that.
No.
They don't have like a museum or anything.
No.
Don't sell like Beetlejuice t-shirts at the local stores.
No, like when I saw that the Hitchcock movie was filmed in, Grass Bear, I had no idea. I was shocked. And then when I picked it up and was watching it, I'm like, that's Craftsbury Common. What the hell? I'm there. Like, I go there all the time because it's a really nice place. So I was really surprised by that. But there's, a movie I watched a lot as a kid. It's kind of special to me. Most people probably don't give a crap about it. But Funny Farm.
Oh, yeah, I like Funny Farm.
I'd go over to my grandparents, during the summer, and my grandfather, one that passed away, him and I would rent that probably at least once every time we hung out. So we'd always watch that together, and we'd always crack up at when he caught the snake and the
I like when the dog runs away.
And the sheep balls.
Yeah.
For a while, I was trying to find where the house was because it's in Vermont. I found it. Found the address and the Google map and stuff, but it's way up a private road. There's a giant gate, and they want people to leave them alone. So obviously, you're not going to bother them.
Yeah, that's kind of unfortunate. Like sometimes you just feel like the wrong person accidentally moved into a house. It's kind of like the movie Funny Farm. They're trying to sell the house. They want to like make them think that that's a really great town. You feel like somebody's like, here, buy this house, and then that person bought it and realized all the Funny Farm fans are going to show up.
There's a Jack Nicholson movie. Apparently, some parts were filmed here. It's the one where he, I guess, goes to Vermont and he gets bit by a wolf and becomes a werewolf. Oh,
you have the movie Wolf? Yeah, I haven't seen that in forever. I keep thinking I want to rewatch that movie because I remember it, and at the same time, I don't really remember that much about it.
Yeah, there was some of Cider House Rules was filmed. Some of it was filmed here. Me, Myself, and Irene.
Nice.
Because he actually cuts through Vermont to go to New York or whatever they were doing. It's been a while since I've seen that.
Yeah, I haven't seen that movie in a while. That's pretty funny.
I've been trying to find some local movies. Like some of them are not even on like YouTube, like short films. There was a short film filmed in like the cemetery where in the same town of Beetlejuice. I found their website and there's nothing, and emailed them. They never got back to me, so whatever.
You went over to their website and it was like, this domain is available. There you go.
I was like, I was even willing to buy it, but it's nowhere. I found one that now I can't remember. I was looking at like a Vermont Life magazine, and they were talking about a short film festival, a horror festival, because
Oh, nice.
I forget who the guy is. He might have made the first Wrong Turn.
Oh, really?
I'd have to look into it. He lives in Vermont now, whoever it was, and he put on a short film horror festival, and one of them was filmed in Hyde Park, and I forget where I found it. I don't remember the name of it now, and I'm kind of mad about that, but it was like...
Yeah, that's a pretty easy trail to follow, though. I bet you could find that again.
But he was, it was just filmed at night on a back road, and then the guy was actually telling a story in the magazine where cops were called because there was a quote, naked guys running around, but they had like skin-tight, like skin-colored suits on because they were supposed to be like creatures. They had sharp teeth. There's one I need to find. I've been trying to find. I don't know if you know who Rusty Deweese is. He was in Black Dog and a couple other things. He's kind of a local comedian. He lives in Stowe. He calls himself the Logger. He does Vermont humor.
What is local colloquialisms? No, I don't know if I know who that is. I mean, I may recognize it if I saw him.
He starred in a movie where he was like a redneck in the woods killing people. And it's supposed to be like a comedy horror.
Yeah, I was about to say he's like a stand-up comedian.
It's called Mud Season, but I can't find it anywhere. But
it may be one of those movies that somebody like tracked down every copy and just do it.
There's a guy in Rutland that makes movies, and they're pretty much atrocious. One was actually on Mystery Science Theater.
Nice.
But he made one I couldn't stop. It was Bruce
Did
Campbell.
he make them like a long time ago, or like
that one was the early '90s? But he keeps making movies.
Nobody can stop him.
I mean, there's some crazy low budget stuff that I need to see. And they're all based around Rutland. There's one where it's like an obviously CGI dam and it breaks and it floods Rutland, and I couldn't stop laughing.
Oh my gosh.
But there's one you need to see because it's so bad it's awesome. It's Bruce Campbell, Sean Austin from the Goonies, and he's the hero. He's like Ski Patrol, and Rusty Deweese is in it, flying a plane, and he crashes. It has like a bomb that was supposed to go to New York. And Bruce Campbell was just like, so
he like a cameo. He just like
no, he's the main bad guy, and
oh, really?
I think
Nice.
Stacy Keach is in it, and Bam Bam Bigelow. I don't know if you remember Bam Bam, the wrestler.
Yeah, the wrestler.
He was in it as a SWAT guy.
Was like all his budget just basically spent on actors?
It was all filmed at a ski resort. It was pretty funny, but it's funny is he Bruce Campbell has a shaved head in it, and if I remember right,
it's not like a bald cap. He like really shaved his head.
I don't even remember. I'm trying to remember. Like the whole point was he was going to New York to blow up something because he had cancer, but then he decided, "Fuck it, I'm gonna blow up Killington Mountain because that's where the bomb is."
You know what it sounds like? It's like we're like if you and I were gonna make a movie and we were gonna use a Mad Libs. We're like, I need a noun, and then I need a verb, and then you're like, here's the plot for the movie, and you just passed it over.
But it's called Icebreaker.
Yeah, that is hilarious. I hope that that's out there somewhere where I can find it, just because that sounds too funny.
It's on DVD, man. You'll buy it.
Is it really? Like, I bet you it's on Amazon, and there's a used copy for a penny. I guarantee it. Right?
So that guy that made this, he made a movie called Something Aliens, and it was China, if you remember her from wrestling. I think it's China.
Yeah, I thought she was going to say the country.
No.
It was like, China. Do you remember China, the country?
I can't remember her name. She died, and there was a whole bunch of court stuff over her baby.
Oh, Amy Nicole?
Yes, it's her last movie. It's absolutely horrible. It's so bad that he made a documentary about him making the movie, about how bad the movie is.
That almost sounds like one of those movies where it's like unintentional how good it is, though, too. Have you ever seen the movie American Movie?
I've heard of it. I haven't seen it yet.
That's one that you can put down on the list, like way up there above Alien and Aliens. That movie is so awesome. And basically that's a documentary about a guy that has spent his whole life trying to make low budget movies, and he's got this big idea for this horror movie he wants to make. And he's kind of never really achieved the goals that he's wanted. Like, he's never made that big horror movie that he thinks he's going to make that's going to get things going in his career. But the guy that comes along and wants to make a documentary about it, and basically that guy got famous overnight, making a documentary about this guy trying to make a horror movie. And when we say, make a really low budget horror movie, the movie that guy's trying to make is way low budget. He's going to make the whole thing, and then he's going to record it after he edits it onto VHS and sell it himself directly to people that buy it. But yeah, it's an awesome movie. Definitely put that on your list of movies you got to watch one of these days, American movie. And it's so quotable. It's hilarious. It's a lot of fun to watch.
I also watched the zombie movie made in here in Vermont. Tell me if you heard this before. Slugs. Think from outer space. Make zombies. Does that ring a bell?
Yeah, it does. There's some weird movies that are kind of like that, too. Do you know the name of it? Or is that what do you know and you're just trying to quiz me and you don't know?
You're supposed to guess.
Is it the Night of the Creeps?
Yes.
Yeah, well, I was about to say, that movie's semi-famous in its own way. I mean, it's got a really good, cult following for kind of how cheesy it is. But I thought, who knows, they might have copied it and made 3 other movies with slugs and zombies.
Stars who?
Oh, man.
Tom Atkins.
Oh, yeah. I was thinking, the young actors. I was like, man.
And he is in?
He's in Halloween 3.
Yes. Full circle.
Yeah, full circle. Yeah, there's some great documentary stuff about him in particular. I was going to tell you about earlier. A lot of interviews with him, all that stuff. To me, he's great because he's so atypical as an actor. You know what I mean? He's a great actor, and at the same time, he doesn't look like your typical, actor. But he fills it so well, the roles that he plays. Oh, I think he's awesome. And apparently, I don't know if he still does conventions and stuff. I know he did 5-6 years ago, but they were saying in the interviews and stuff back when he did lots of a lot of those conventions. He's just awesome. You know what I mean? He's a really cool guy. He's always really cool with fans and stuff. So I always like that too.
What's he saying in that movie? Hit me. Is that what he says?
Gosh.
That movie's weird. He's trying to kill himself. It's just why did he wait this many years to have it? I'm so guilty that I killed that guy and buried him. Spoiler.
I like how you put your spoiler at the end. Your spoiler level. And then Darth Vader was Luke's father. Spoiler. It's not a warning as much as you just noting that you spoiled it for everybody.
And that's how it ends.
Yeah. So there's no use in going to watch that one. I just saved you $2 for $1. But yeah, I like Tom Atkins. I think he's a lot of fun to watch. And you know what's funny? Thinking about him, when I was watching Halloween 3 the other day, he is already kind of, I wouldn't say he's gray-haired when he did Halloween 3, but he's definitely a middle-aged guy, and he's looking much older than his co-star, that Stacey Nelkin. And that girl was so young and so pretty, and he just instantly had a love scene with her. You know what I mean? It's so it's almost forced because it's so funny. But yeah, gotta respect the guy that gets that kind of girl and that kind of movie effortlessly. Big props to Tommy Lee Wallace and the guys that directed and made that movie. That Tom Atkins gets some action.
So how do you want to send this off?
Well, I guess we could just basically tell everybody they got to tune in to see which one of those movies that you guys, are going to sit down and actually watch. Are you going to watch those by yourself, or are you going to?
I probably have to. Some of them, I think, Alien would be fun to watch with someone, but I think The Shining needs to be watched alone.
Yeah, that definitely has and watch it late. Don't watch it 2:00 on Wednesday.
No.
2:00.
I'm gonna put my TV on the lawn when it's all bright and sunny out and watch it.
Yeah. And then, then you just take a half a ball on their desk because you're afraid to go to bed.
Definitely don't want to watch it and then go to work.
Oh gosh, that'd be like a weird thing to have on your mind at all. The very first time, because it's kind of a bizarre movie to absorb. I can't say that it's necessarily scary. It has its moments. It's mostly just weird and creepy. But yeah, we'll leave kind of this podcast open to see which one of the movies that, like those must-see movies, which ones you end up watching and are ready to discuss. Because I'm kind of eager to see a lot of those movies that I have fond memories because I watched them 20, 25 years ago, have the kind of staying power that you can watch it fresh now, and it still could maybe, come across as a good movie to you as much as it did to me, because I've got the nostalgic factor that keeps it, as a good movie in my mind. So I'm kind of eager to see what you think.
Stay tuned to find out.
Thanks, guys. See you next time. I'll drop on that.